Hi, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Farooq Lone, my dear children. Today we have a basic thing about grammar to learn, and that basic thing is countable and uncountable nouns. And I believe that you might have learned about nouns. We have so many kinds of nouns. We have abstract noun, common noun, proper noun, and one of the kinds of noun we have countable and uncountable nouns. Here's a small description about countable and uncountable nouns. So countable nouns are those nouns which you can count, which we can make plurals of, like a cat, three cats, an apple, five apples. Anything you can count is countable noun. आप जिनको गिन सकते हो वो काउंटेबल नाउन्स है, और जिनको आप जो गिनने में ना आए उनको अनकाउंटेबल नाउन्स कहते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, सम नाउन्स इन इंग्लिश डोंट हैव अ प्लूरल फॉर्म. These nouns are called uncountable nouns. Some typical uncountable nouns are abstract things. So we have music, art, love, happiness. Liquids are there: water, milk, shampoo, oil. Then some foods: rice, sugar, salt, fish, meat. Then other words: electricity, gas, power, money, advice. These are uncountable nouns. And remember one more thing, हमारे बच्चे अक्सर कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं कि शायद जो स्टार्स हैं वो अनकाउंटेबल नाउन्स हैं क्योंकि वो लिमिटलेस हैं. Those are not uncountable nouns. They can be countless, but they cannot be uncountable because you count them: one star, two star, three stars. Sorry, one star, two stars, three stars. एक तारा, दो तारे, तीन तारे. आप गिन सकते हो बहुत सारे तारे. So this is all about countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Here is how we use there is and there with these nouns. We use there is for singular nouns. For example, there's a cat in this room. We use there is for uncountable nouns too. For example, there's some milk in the fridge. So in both cases, we can use there is and there is as is shown in these examples. And again, there is, there are, we use there are with plural nouns. For example, there are three cats in this room. One, two, three. So there are three cats in this room. You can use there are with plural nouns. And we can make them negative forms also, like there isn't a cat in this room. There isn't any milk in the fridge. There aren't any cats in this room. And we can make them interrogative forms like question statements. The examples are: is there a cat in this room? Yes, there is. No, there isn't. So the answer can either be yes or no. It depends. Is there any milk in the fridge? Yes, there is. No, there isn't. Are there any cats in this room? Yes, there are. No, there aren't. So these green words, you can see it yourself how these are words: is there and are there. Is there. And I guess that we talked about articles in English in great detail, and here's a small note for you how to use indefinite articles. We use in with singular countable nouns. We use with words that begin with a consonant sound. For example, a cat, a friend, a house, a teacher. So in is used here. We use n with words, sorry, is used here. We use n with words that begin with a vowel sound. For example, an apple, an orange, an engineer. So n is used here. And we have a word some. We use some in affirmative sentences. Affirmative is marked by this tick, and wherever you see henceforth this affirmative sentences, it will be marked by a tick. So some is used with countable plural nouns. For example, there are some cats in this room. With uncountable nouns, there is some milk in the fridge. Okay, now we have this word any. We use any with negative and interrogative sentences. For example, with countable plural nouns, are there any cats in the room? No, there aren't any cats in this room. And any is used with uncountable nouns like, is there any milk in the fridge? No, there isn't any milk in the fridge. So this is about any. Now we have we use a lot of with countable and uncountable words in affirmative sentences, in negative sentences, and interrogative sentences. So again, they are marked by affirmative sentences are marked by tick, negative sentences with cross, and interrogative or positive sentences, or question statements with this question mark. Examples are here where we use a lot of. There are a lot of cats. There isn't a lot of milk. There aren't a lot of tomatoes. Is there a lot of money? So this is how we use a lot of. And now we use many with these with countable nouns. We use many in affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences. Example is here: There aren't many tomatoes in my garden. Absos. Okay, so this is about many, and we have this word much, similar word. Much, we use much with uncountable nouns. We usually use negative interrogative sentences. For example, there isn't much milk in the fridge. So here is a relook what we did in the previous slide. So it just is the reflection where we use a lot of, many, and much in each of these statements. In affirmative sentences or positive sentences, in negative sentences, and interrogative or question sentences. We use a lot of in affirmative sentences with countable plural, countable nouns. In negative sentences, we use a lot of countable plural and countable nouns, and in interrogative sentences, we use a lot of with the countable plural and countable nouns. And similarly, in each case, you can see it yourself. Many is used in these cases and much is used in these cases. Screenshot it and have it saved in your gallery for lateral use. This is about a lot of many, much, and we did these things in the previous slides. Now also we did these and some, anyway they are used. So here is a look. In affirmative sentences, these indefinite articles are used with singular countables. In negative sentences, we use in with singular countables. And interrogative sentences, we use and with singular countable nouns. And similarly, in each case, we use some in these cases and any in these situations. And here is a note for you. Some uncountable nouns in English are countable in other languages. This can be confusing. Here is a list of some of the common, easy to confuse countable, uncountable nouns. So कुछ ऐसे भी nouns होते हैं जो इंग्लिश में uncountables हैं लेकिन किसी और लैंग्वेज में, फॉर एग्जांपल हमारे कश्मीरी में या उर्दू में वो countable हो सकते हैं. I have taken an example here. Bread. Bread को उर्दू में रोटी कहते हैं. तो रोटी वहाँ पर उर्दू में या कश्मीरी में उनको हम प्लूरल बना सकते हैं, उनको गिन सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल एक रोटी, दो रोटियां, तीन रोटियां. सो देयर इन उर्दू एंड Kashmiri, it's countable there because we can make plurals of bread there. And similarly, we have these words which are uncountable in English, but they can be countable in other languages. For example, we have furniture, garbage, information, knowledge, luggage, money, news, pasta, progress, research, travel, work, accommodation, advice, baggage, bread, equipment. These things are uncountable in English. Okay. So obviously uncountable nouns, especially different types of food, have forms that express plural concepts. These measurements or containers are countable. So in uncountables को हम countable बना सकते हैं जब इनको हम measure कर सकते हैं करेंगे. For example, a water, a glass of water, 2 glasses of water, equipment, a piece of equipment, 2 pieces of equipment, a cheese, a slice of cheese, 2 slices of cheese. And similarly, you can add more examples to it. This is about how we use we measure uncountable nouns, and when we measure uncountable nouns, they become countable in cases like these. So here is a small focus on grammar. Is there a banana on the table? Yes, there is. No, there isn't any banana on the table. And it can mean here, no, there's no banana on the table. So isn't any here means no, and aren't any here means are no. Are there any oranges in the fridge? Yes, there are. No, there aren't any oranges in the fridge. Look at the sentence. There aren't any oranges. It means there are no oranges, like here I showed you. So any is used here for questions and negative statements, and here similarly some is used for offers. And I have taken some examples, some nouns. You have to answer whether these nouns are countable or uncountable. Here are some examples like rules, information, sheep. Sheep is a word. You have to see it yourself whether it's countable and uncountable and answer accordingly. There are some more words: clothes, music, deserts, land, nations. Some more words: money, learning, equipment, traffic, stones, talent, websites. So you have to see whether these these nouns are countable or uncountable nouns. And we have now containers and quantifiers. So these are containers. You measure these in these containers. These uncountable nouns in these containers: a glass of water, a bottle of milk, a kilo of tomatoes. Similarly, a carton, a package, of cup, of a stick, of a dozen eggs. So remember one more thing here. We don't use of here. You don't say a dozen of eggs. You say dozen eggs. There's my friend who consume around a dozen eggs in an hour. So you don't use of here. It's a dozen eggs, not a dozen of eggs. And in these cases, you use of a dish of, a cup of, a can of, a slice of, a cup of coffee, etc. And here again, it's just a look what we did, how these quantifiers with are used with countable and uncountable nouns, and there are more examples. These red words, they are quantifiers, and they are here in this column. They are used with countable nouns. For example, there are too many bananas, a few apples, very few donuts, not many biscuits, plenty of peas, a lot of lots, or a lot of nuts. You can say, or you can say lots of nuts. Enough tomatoes, not enough tomatoes, hardly any eggs, no pineapples, and these quantifiers can be used with countable nouns like these. There's too much fruit, a little milk, very little cheese, not much orange juice, plenty of salt, a lot of or lots of sugar, enough water or not enough water, hardly any rice, no butter. So this is how we use quantifiers with countable and uncountable nouns. So this thing I have taken from SIE, that means State Institute of Education. It's especially for class 9 students. You are supposed to do this thing at your home. There are some 10 questions and you have to answer whether these underlined words and nouns are countable or uncountable, and make sure when schools are open you come with this assignment done at your home. So those students who are studying in my school, BHS Badrahar, I want you to have this assignment done and send it to me on my personal WhatsApp. So these words are: the children fell asleep quickly after a busy day of fun. You have to say whether children, if it is plural, so it means countable noun. Okay, it's a countable noun. One hint is for you here. Children fell asleep quickly after a busy day of fun. Be careful, the water is deep. You have to say, you have to reply whether water is uncountable or countable noun. Similarly, in each case, you have to answer accordingly in these 10 questions, in these 10 statements. 3. The parade included 5 tracks and police cars. We like the large bottles of mineral water. Bottles you have to see here. My mother uses real butter in the cakes she bakes. How many politicians does it take to pass a simple law? Most kids like milk, but Joey hates it. Most pottery is made of clay. Michael can play several different musical instruments. You have to answer whether the word instrument is countable or uncountable noun. So 10th point is, and this is the last, I was feeling so stressed that I ate an entire box of cookies. This is the assignment, and make sure you do it. This is all for today. I'm Farooq Lone. Here is a small message for you. In these two pictures, here you see the shelves full of organic food. Here juices, fruits, etc. It's a future without bees, and here are empty shelves. It's future without. Here is future with bees. Shelves full of organic foods, and here shelves are empty, a future without bees. In next video I'll be coming with some new stuff. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.